The House of Representatives is asking the Nigeria Customs Service to lift the ban on the distribution of petroleum products to towns and communities within 20 kilometers of any border area in Nigeria. The House, in a motion sponsored by Representative Sadat Soli, expressed worry over the untold hardship which the ban will bring to border communities. Our correspondent, Terry Ikumi, reports.
The fourth order of the day respect coalition is the
Tuesday's plenary in the House of Representatives is presided over by the Deputy Speaker. A lawmaker, as a matter of urgent public importance, draws the attention of his colleagues to the ban by the Nigeria Customs Service on the distribution of petroleum products to fuel stations within 20 kilometers of the country's borders.
There are over 2,000 border communities living on 105 local governments in 21 states of this federation that are sharing borders between Niger Republic, Chad Republic, Benin Republic, and Cameroon.
And although the Nigeria Customs Service says the rationale behind the ban is to check smuggling, the lawmakers are worried that the border closure is already biting hard on the Nigerian communities around the borders.
Also alarmed that the directive will no doubt increase the suffering of Nigerians living in the border areas who are already feeling the impact of the border closure more than the rest of the country.
I was ambushed.
This lawmaker fears that President Muhammadu Buhari may be affected by the ban.
From Daura to Kongolam, that's the border, international border. It's 18 kilometers. From Mr. President's house, leaving home, his bedroom, to the border is just 13 kilometers. That's a very good point there. We all know the borders are closed, but they still allow things to go in and out. I'm a living witness, and I stand to be corrected. Therefore, yesterday, I was there around 1 a.m. Nobody knows. I saw what they are doing. So, sir, the custom need to be invited here, and they need to be questioned.
While suggesting that the ban by the Nigeria Customs Service is in violation of the Customs and Excise Management Act, the House resolves to mandate its committees on Interior, Customs and Petroleum Downstream to within 2 weeks engage with the concerned parties and report back for further legislative action. Terry Ikumi, Channels Television News.
Meanwhile, people living along two major border towns in Katsina State are lamenting the worsening situation caused by the recent suspension of the distribution of petroleum products to filling stations within 20 kilometers of all land borders. Channels Television visited the affected communities of Jibia and Mayadua to assess the impact, where residents say the situation is forcing them to travel long distances to purchase petroleum products.
The delicate balance between combating smuggling and managing the corresponding difficulty facing residents around border towns divides opinion on the federal government's policy to close the Nigerian land borders. For the residents of Mayadua and Jibia border towns in Katsina State, the additional directive by the federal government banning the supply of petroleum products to all petrol stations located within 20 kilometers to the border towns in the country is causing too much economic hardship that requires urgent attention.
Frankly speaking, before we bought 1 liter, 145 as usual. But this time around, we really bought it almost, that first day, I bought it for myself for 400 for a liter. So we really suffer.
We are not happy about that order, because we people living in border lines, we have already facing many challenges and many problems about that issue. Still the business activities is no more working here. We call the attention of that two chambers, red chambers and the green chambers, National Assembly and Senate, for emergency calling to the federal government to look the situation of this suspended of transferring of fuel to the 20 kilometers to the border and even the border closure.
With filling stations closed at the border towns, the next port of call to access petroleum products is Katsina, the state capital. Young men travel long distance to buy fuel and resell to those who can't make the journey. This commercial driver appeals to the federal government not to look away from their plight.
We are calling on federal government to look at the economic hardship we are facing in this border. Because we, the people of Jibia local government area, we have shown unquantifiable love and solidarity to President Buhari. It's unfortunate and unimaginable that we have been rewarded with this fuel supply, which is suspended for the Jibia people. We have now entered into economic hardship. What type of crisis are we into?
For these residents, they hope that the Nigerian Customs Service will honor the request of the House of Representatives, asking them to lift the ban on the distribution of petroleum products to fuel stations within 20 kilometers of border towns in Nigeria.
On to politics, there seems to be confusion surrounding the purported suspensions of the national chairman of the All Progressives Congress, Mr. Adams Oshomole, and the governor of the state, Godwin Obaseki, as Edo State, and the party's leadership in the state. Now, according to the secretary of the APC, local government chairman in the state, Mr. Mike Anakaso, they have passed a vote of no confidence on Mr. Oshomole, which has been adopted by party state executive to suspend him. He says the party chairman and all 18 local government areas of Edo State blame the APC national chairman for the crisis rocking the APC in the state and his alleged role in trying to disintegrate the party.
With the LGA chairman in Edo State of our great party, All Progressive Congress, because of what is happening in Edo State, and we have discovered to our greatest chagrin that the national chairman of our great party, our own son, Comrade Adams Ali Oshomole, is seen as being behind the crisis in Edo State. Hence, we the chairman have therefore resolved to pass a vote of no confidence on him this day, the 12th day of November 2019.
Meanwhile, a counter statement signed by the chairman of the APC in Esako West, Mr. Ibrahim Akokia, and that of Esako Central, Mr. Suleiman Bagude, describes as untrue the purported vote of no confidence passed on the APC national chairman. They claim to be unaware of any meeting where a vote of no confidence was passed on Mr. Oshomole. Rather, they say they're aware that the majority of chairmen have suffered intimidation, harassment and assault at the hands of the Obaseki-led administration. The statement claims that the chairmen have passed a vote of no confidence on Governor Obaseki and the suspended state chairman of the party, Anselm Ojezua, accusing them of engaging in anti-party activities and insisting Mr. Oshomole remains their leader. While the drama unfolds, the All Progressives Congress National Chairman, Mr. Adams Oshomole, is confident of the party's victory in the governorship election that will hold in Bayelsa State on Saturday, November 16th. Mr. Oshomole, who urged the electorate to vote the party's flag bearer, David Leon, as the next governor, goes on to say that he is the most qualified of the candidates.
Make some noise!
Virtually every space in this arena has been taken up by supporters and those who have gathered to be part of the rally by the All Progressives Congress ahead of Saturday's governorship election in the state. The atmosphere is charged and the solidarity can almost be touched and perhaps demonstrated in singing and dancing. That was, however, to give way for the business of the day.
With the Lord on our side, we will win. They have tried all means, including all the court cases. They are using some people within our ranks to even go to court, but we will win. WWW. We will win. WWW. We will win. WWW. We will win.
Comrade Adams Oshomole also lends his voice in support to the party's candidate, David Lyon.
So today, I believe for the people of Bayelsa State, by coming out on Saturday to vote for one of your own, you will be making a bold statement.
Those comments were followed by endorsements from a group who refer to themselves as ex-agitators.
Solely and agreed to endorse David Lyon of the APC as our next governor of the state.
20 political parties in the state also stepped down from the election and declared support for the APC.
That we are adopting Chief David Lyon and Senator Degi Eremeyo as our sole candidate for the Bayelsa State governorship election 2019.
And to the man on whose shoulder lies the burden to bear the party's ambition at the polls.
November 16, being elected and sworn in 14 February 2020, Bayelsa will see light.
The party faithfuls have had their say. Come Saturday, 16th November 2019, the electorates are expected to have their way. Dobra Timiwood, Channels Television News.